Putter and Tabby Toot the horn. Loud music. 1. Mr. Putter and his fine cat Tabby were neighbors to Mrs. Teaberry and her good dog Zeke. Mrs. Teaberry and Mr. Putter had a lot in common. They both like bingo, they both like fresh, free samples, they both like rain. They both like music. Mrs. Teaberry liked country music the best. She liked the broken heart, she liked the big silver boots and the tall hair. Mr. Putter liked opera. He also liked the broken hearts, and he liked the big round heroes and the violin. Some days Mrs. Teaberry would play her country music very loud for Mr. Putter to hear. Some days Mr. Putter would play his opera very loud for Mrs. Teaberry to hear. They liked sharing. One day Mrs. Teaberry had an idea. "We should join a band," she told Mr. Putter. "But I can't join a band," said Mr. Putter. "I can't play an instrument." "Of course you can," said Mrs. Teaberry. "Old people can do anything they want." Can they say they can't play an instrument?" asked Mr. Putter. "No," said Mrs. Teaberry. So she and Mr. Putter went to look for a band. 2. Tough Teeth. Mr. Putter and Tabby and Mrs. Teaberry and Zeke wanted to hear many bands play. They wanted to hear an Irish band play Jinx, but the Jinx made Tabby nervous and Zeke itch, so they could not play in an Irish band. Next, they went to hear a brass band, but the brassy sound made Mrs. Teaberry's teeth hurt, so they could not play in a brass band. Then they went to her jazz band. The band played very late in a club after midnight. Mr. Putter fell asleep, so they could not play in jazz band. Poor Mr. Putter and Mrs. Teaberry. It seemed the band were only for people who had tough teeth and didn't need to sleep. They sat with Tabby and Zeke and wondered what to do. 3. Mr. Putter can't. "I have it," said Mrs. Teaberry a few days later. She had brought Mr. Putter and Tabby some peach tea and a carrot pie. "We will be a band." "But I still can't play an instrument," said Mr. Putter. "Of course you can," said Mrs. Teaberry. "I can't," said Mr. Putter. "You can if you want to," said Mrs. Teaberry. Mr. Putter thought about Tabby's numbers and Zach's itch and Mrs. Teaberry's teeth. He thought about a nap. "I'm not sure if I want to," said Mr. Putter. "If you try, I'll bake you something sweet," said Mrs. Teaberry. "Sweet?" said Mr. Putter. "Something really nutty," said Mrs. Teaberry. "Nutty?" said Mr. Putter. "With a lot of vanilla," said Mrs. Teaberry. "I really want to play. I'm ready to play," said Mr. Putter. 4. Mr. Putter tries. The next day, Mr. Putter bought a horn. He bought it because it was on sale. When he got home, Mr. Putter tooted the horn for 4 hours. He was a very bad tooter, the worst. Tabby went outside to sleep in the fence. Mrs. Teaberry did not buy a horn to toot. She bought a mandolin. When she got home, she started plucking. She was a good plucker. She plucked all night long, and Zach did not itch. By the next morning, Mrs. Teaberry could pluck her favorite country songs. But Mr. Putter could not toot his favorite songs. His tutor was holding up a tomato plant. 5. The band. Mrs. Teaberry forgave Mr. Putter for being a bad tutor. My bad. She said he could listen to her pluck instead, so he did. He listened to her pluck all the broken songs she could think of. He liked it very much. Tabby purred. Zeke did not itch. After the country concert, they all had a sweet, nutty vanilla surprise. Mrs. Teaberry said Mr. Putter deserved it because he had tried. She said she did not mind being the only person in the band. She said the name of her band will be Plucker Without Putter. And they laughed and laughed and laughed. The end.